Hello everyone, this is Maureen and welcome to My Crochet Story, where I love sharing with you the two things that I love, teaching and crochet. Today is Sunday, March the 31st, and I want to take just a few moments to say Happy Easter to you, or as I like to call it, and many of us that are Christians do, it is a wonderful celebration of the resurrection. Now, I think that this is a great time for me to kind of get caught up with you, little chit chat and catch up. That's what it's called today. But before we get started with that, let me say thank you to all of you, no matter what time you are watching this, because I imagine that many of you are spending time with family and friends as you should to celebrate this most special day of the year. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome into you as well. I'm so happy that you stopped in to check to see what my channel is all about. I do hope that you'll watch the video all the way to the end, and then please take an extra moment to go check out all the other content that I have, because I really do think that you'll find something that might pique your interest enough to hit that subscribe button down there in the corner. Then please look for the bell with those little hugs on the side, because it'll let you know every time I upload content. And speaking of content, may I please remind you of two things. All of you, please remember to leave your little thumbprint, and I would like to see a comment from you, even if it's just to say hi. That lets me know who stopped in to see what it is I'm all about today. And I would also like to ask that you share this out with your family and friends, because you never know. They might find something new and exciting for them to watch as well, and it always helps the channel. Alright, a little chit chat and catch up. Now, many of you may realize that yesterday I didn't post anything about my Granny Square adventure. It's Granny Squares are the theme this year as far as I'm concerned. But I had a little adulting to do yesterday. My hubby was off, and so we had a nice time. We went out for dinner, and then we just kind of took ourselves a little road trip, and so I just didn't get to posting yesterday. So I'm going to take yesterday's episode and my chit chat and catch up, and we're just going to combine it all together today. Okay? So, before we get started, did y'all notice my new little shawl here? Isn't it gorgeous? Now, folks, really, it's not new to me. I have had it for a few months, but I've been waiting for a special time in which to wear it and to share it with you. This is a one-of-a-kind, never to be made again shawl that was made for me by my other southern sister, all handmade Connie. Now, she'd been working on a design for a while, and she finally got it made. And of course, we were all encouraging her, just a minute, to because you know how it is when you get something in your head and it eventually has to come out. Well, that's what had happened to her. But she decided that this was for me. Now, isn't that sweet? Oh my goodness. And when I said, "Oh, Connie, I love it. You've got to give me the pattern," and she said, "I didn't write anything down. It's a one-of-a-kind. There will not be another one." Do you know how special that made me feel? And y'all all know how it is when someone makes something special for you and you know that there's not going to be another one like it. This truly is a wonderful gift. Now, I did lightly wash it, and I did set it out on my blocks for a while, but you know what? I didn't pin it. I didn't do a true block on it. And I'll tell you why. When I laid it out on the block and was, getting it all stretched out and everything, I looked at that, and for some reason, it just spoke to me. It just said, "Let me be." And so that's what I did. I just let her be. She dried enough then for me to take her off the mat, and so there she is. So I thought, what better time of the year for it to make its debut than today on Easter Sunday. So don't ask me, guys, because like I said, she said she didn't write it down, and there's not going to be another one. So just feast your eyes on it and enjoy it. And I will be wearing it now from time to time, so you'll get to see it more than once. All right, so I told you that I didn't do anything yesterday for my Granny Square series, but I did get a couple of new Granny Square books. Now, I know that if you follow me whenever Carrie the Yarny Elephant and I go live, you've already seen these books if you watch us Wednesday, Thursdays, and Friday mornings. But when she showed these books a couple of weeks ago, I thought, oh my goodness, I got to get them. Now, I got 2 of the 3 books that she shared with us, because this first book I'm going to show you, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, the projects that can be made from this one book. So let me get it for you real quick. It is the SIREN'S Atlas. Now, there are some projects here in the back of the book to give you some ideas of what to do with it. But folks, the very first thing I thought of when I saw this book, and she went through and showed us the squares, which I'll be showing some of you here in just a few minutes. I thought blanket. I thought I saw shawl. And you know, you could take just one square and make a complete shawl out of it, you know, or wrap, excuse me. I call them both the same to me. They're interchangeable words. You could just take one. You can make a beautiful purse or beach bag. You can do, because it gives you well, I'll explain the rest of it too. There was just so many things that started snowballing in my head. And isn't it great whenever you see a book that does that for you, because you can get more than just one project out of it. So this is called SIREN'S Atlas, as I showed you. It says it is an ocean of granny squares to crochet. And this is put out by Shelley Husband, and it is written in US or American crochet terms. So let's see. It says, welcome to the SIREN'S Atlas. It is a journey through the oceans and seas of the world in crochet. Let's see, there's a little before you start section here that says what you need to have, what you need to know, how to read the patterns, and there are charts for those of us that love to do charts. And you know, the one thing that I really liked in here whenever I was looking at this, and I want to show you what to do. Let's see. Before I get to that, it says granny squares are not just for blankets. You can make cushions, scarves, bags, and garments. The only limit is your imagination. So there are some projects that are already in here for you. A blue sampler blanket, a mini sampler blanket, an embellished zipper pouch, an embellished apron, a wrap, and a 4-color sampler blanket. So I'll get to those here in just a little bit. But the nice thing that I like about this is that I'm going to show you here in a minute. She gives you the world map, and she has each of the squares numbered. Now there are, just a minute, I believe 64. For some reason in my head I thought it only had 50 squares. Doesn't matter, but there are 64 of them, and each one of them has a name. Some of them I can't pronounce, and so I'm not even going to try, but they do have numbers on them. But the nice thing about this map, folks, and I bet you already know where I'm going with that, she has numbered where each one of these squares are on the map as far as the bodies of waters. And a lot of these folks are not just oceans. They are rivers, they are lakes, they are coves. I mean, it's just really, really nice. So let me first show you. Now I haven't had this spiral bound yet, so excuse the little buckle there in the middle. But there's the map. All right. And as I said, I'm going to lift it up here just a little bit. I can't see very well, but as you can see, let me get her focused. Let me see which way I need to shuffle. Okay. as you can see, each one of the squares has a number by it. Now it's going to be really hard for me to go up there and point to you where they are on the map, but just suffice it to say that each one of those squares, their design is representative of the area of where it is on the map. Let's see, that's the first 32, and here is the next 32. Now those first ones really kind of centered more on, well, really they were just kind of all over. I'm not going to say that they were on one side of the page or the other, because they weren't. Okay. Let's see, but there was one other thing I wanted to show you, which I think, okay, it's not right there. Where is it? Maybe it's back this way, and I skipped it. Because it was talking about what you needed to know, how to read the patterns. Okay, well maybe it's back here in the back. Because I know I saw it in here. They showed me a picture. Alright, come on. Because they were talking about it. Where rounds and where the round end and begins in my pattern. Well, folks, maybe it's in the other book that I saw it. Well, anyway, let's just get on through here, and I will, it might have been with one of the patterns. Yeah, that's just like me, to get to saying something, and I probably should have marked it. Oh, the glossary is here in the back for your charts to show you, just in case you need a little reminder on what some of the symbols are in your chart, what they represent. And what's really nice is that this glossary of charts does pertain to the symbols that she uses in her patterns. All right, well, let's go over here and look at some of the patterns here. Now, like I said, I'm not going to say the names. I just want to give you a little picture here. See those right there? Now, what you're going to notice in the few that I'm going to show you, and I don't want to leave them up too long because, you know, it is showing the charts and some of the text there. But do you notice the color theme running through here? Now, obviously, you don't have to use these that she has chosen. You can use whatever color you want. You can mix them depending on whether it's the ocean that you're doing, or let's say maybe a lake, you know. But I do think that it is very, very I guess the word I want is, there's no two alike. I mean, they're not even close to being alike. And the other thing I like about this, folks, is that she uses the basic stitches that we already know. Obviously, chaining and single crochets, double crochets. There are some puff stitches in here, and of course, if you don't know how to make those, you can always look for them on a YouTube channel. I mean, I do have some on mine. There are shell stitches. We all know that they are basically made up of just some of their basic stitches that we already know. But look at those. Aren't they gorgeous? And like I said, I'm just flipping through here to show you some of them. So obviously, you know, you're going to be seeing some projects that I'll be making with these. Now, will I make a blanket out of them? I don't know. I'm not going to say no now, but I don't know how you could just not make every single one of them, you know? So we'll just have to wait and see. But I have already tagged several in here for so many different ideas, like as I said, a wrap. This one in particular here, this one right here, I think will make a gorgeous wrap. It's nice and airy. It has a very distinct little pattern to it. I mean, yes, I'm already looking forward to working with this one. Now, the next book that caught my eye that I really like, and of course I have to preface this with saying this. The reason why this one really caught my eye is because I love working with muted colors, because to me it gives it that nice vintage look. I mean, I love the creams and the extremely light beige, where it gives it an old, like it has antiqued itself. That's what I like. So this is called the Granny Square Flair, and there are many squares in here that are very classic. Now they've been kind of updated just a little bit with some little tweaks here, there, and yonder. But again, they are gorgeous. And of course, you know me, like I said, just looking at them here on the cover of the book, just said, okay, I got to have that book. Now again, I'm going to have to apologize whenever I show you things. I've not had it spiral bound yet. Now this book is also by Shelley Husband. It is 50 fresh modern variations of the classic Granny Square. And at the end, inside you'll find 50 Granny Square patterns, at least 3 different color options for you on each pattern. There's hints and tips for seamless crochet and how to make your crochet sing. There's different joining options. So okay, it must have been in this book where I saw it. And 11 projects again that you can make using combinations of the squares. So let's get into it. Let's see. Again, she goes through telling you the things that you're going to need in order to do her patterns. There's a glossary. There's the yarns that were used for each one, and alternate yarn color contributors. In other words, where you could go and look at yarn that you could use to give you the same effect and size from what she used here. Alrighty. Of course, again, she talks to you about the yarn, the fiber, the hooks. Alright, here it was how to begin a square, what you're going to need to know. She shows you how to do her seamless crochet joins. Now this one here is for how to do it in the round, so that any of you that have worked granny squares, you know that we can always definitely tell where we started and finished. And then here she is on this one. See, I knew I had seen it in one of the 2 books. We're all used to this type of join, but she explains to you how her technique gives you a granny square in which you cannot tell where you've changed from one row to the next, and then how you tie off. And I think that is wonderful. You know, we like for our work to look seamless and where you really can't see where you started and where you stopped. She gives you different yarn weights and how the difference in the yarns. So see right there, she did her own pattern to show you what each one of the different weights of yarns, what size it will give you. So that will help you in determining how big you want the squares to be for whatever project that you're making. And again, she goes through and she gives you the symbols for you knowing the difficulty of the square, how many yards are going to be used, and she even gives you, which I think is really great, how to read her written patterns. And so she's giving you 2 or 3 rows there of a pattern, and then she explains to you what it is she's telling you in there. And I think sometimes as crocheters, whether we're content creators or we're writers, we tend to forget to give that little bit of a hint, because not all of us write patterns the same. And so I think that she's done a very great service to anyone who wants to work with her patterns. And she shows you different ways of joining. All right, and some border some border patterns that you can use once you start joining your squares. Okay, now again, here what I'm going to show you is did I miss a page? No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, I see. Those are the pages. All right. So 5 and 5. So these are the different squares that you will find in the book. As I said, I apologize for that little bump there. There are the different squares. Try to get my fingers off of them. And as you can see, some of these are squares that we have seen multiple times over and over again, or they might look like one that you're used to seeing, but she's put her own unique style and twist on it. So as I said, most of these are conventional squares that we've grown up making, but as I said, she's done just a little bit of something to make it different, which I think is always great. We're always looking for something a little different to do. All right, so I'm going to start right here, the first two. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to show you this Camilla. I love this one. And like I said, I can't keep it up there very long, but there it is in that pretty off-white. But then she's come down here, and like I said, she has gone ahead and shown you how you can make it different. I mean, if you don't want this vintage look, there are some color combinations for you to look at. This one here is called the Berry Flower. And again, she's come down here and she's shown you some different options as far as colors are concerned. Again, I'm just going to whip through here real quick. This one's called the Lulu Dia. To me, it just looks like another flower. There you go. And again, there are the color combinations. They look a little bit, it looks a little easier to see them in color than in the. Okay, I'm going to show you this next one here because I think it's a beautiful representation of the amaryllis. Isn't that pretty? And there again are your color combinations down there. Now again, you don't have to use her color combinations, but just gives you an idea of what you can do. Okay, now let me show you some of these projects that she came up with, because not all of these squares are completely finished. I mean, she came up with some unique ideas. There you go. Look at that. There's some pot holders. Some that red one up there comes from the hexagonal insert piece of a granny square. There's some other ideas there for you. And these projects are all here in the back of the book. Very easy. She even tells you which granny squares she used to get to it. And then, of course, walks you through how to put them together. So, very, very good book. Both of these were just a tad over 20 bucks on Amazon. Now, I was able to, each book that I bought was already discounted, so was able to save a little money there. I will leave a link down in the description box of where you can find them on Amazon. Okay, now you all know I'm working on amigurumis. They'll pop up on Wednesday. I'm working on my mosaic, the 4 seasons. That'll be popping up on Monday for you to look at. But I wanted to show you some objects that are some whips that I kind of keep tucked over here on the side that really I don't show you. But, you know, every once in a while you have to take a break. Especially if you're designating one day to work on just this project and nothing else. Well, sometimes, you know, 4, 6, 8 hours on that one project can become draining. So I keep a couple of smaller, well, anyway, different projects that have nothing to do with what I am going through in the week at the moment because of the time of year, of showing you, giving you different ideas about it and everything. And one of them is, if you remember right when the Red Heart Granny Square skeins came out, all of us, I mean, we even did it on TFF, we did it on Southern Sisters. We showed you our take on the Granny Square skein. Well, you know me, I failed miserably at trying to make the pattern fit the square. I went up in hook size, I went down in hook size. I tried changing my tension, just didn't work. So what I did do was I took one of the skeins, and I've been working on just making a corner to corner scarf out of it. And at first I didn't like it because, again, look right here, my little OCD is going, I don't like that. Because most of the other rows, really, see, like this white row here, look at that, and this lilac rose, this purple, you know, for the and look at this teal, look at that. For the most part, I can get, especially in the longer sections of the yarn color, just almost a complete row of that color. But I had to just bite the bullet and just go on through, just as if this was a like a stripes yarn, variegated yarn. Just don't fight the color change, let it fall where it wants to. And so, quite frankly, it's looking okay, because I also had to tell myself, by the time, you know, you wrap it around, of course it's not near long enough yet, by the time you wrap it around and it all gets all scrunched up, you're not going to know it much anyway, are you? So that's kind of the saving grace for me right there. And so I pick it up 2 or 3 times during the day if this is the one that I want to kind of let my mind get away from my other project, to just, you know, I'm not going to say it's mindless, because we all know corner to corner you do have to keep up with what you're doing. But I do have to say that I have been able to get quite a bit of length out of it already. And I have to tell you, I'm not even halfway through the skein yet. So this is going to make a really nice long scarf. And I haven't quite made up my mind yet. I might even put some fringe on the end of it. We'll just have to wait and see. But so that's one little side project that, as I said, I used to. All right, what's happened here? That's what I thought. When I picked it up, a little bit of I shouldn't say a little bit, but quite a bit of length of the yarn came out. Well, maybe I am. Nope, I'm not quite halfway there, folks. Yeah, I'm not quite halfway through it, so it's going to make a nice length of scarf. And then the other little project that I play with, several episodes ago, we released to you a wrap pattern that Daniel had designed himself and written the pattern up for. I'm going to say a couple of years ago, possibly. It's called the Parallel Paths. And what I did was, I had started it on that episode, and I really liked it. I really love the pattern, folks. I really, really do. And what I did was, since I had just made a swatch, I went back, ripped out that swatch, and now I am starting to make a little bit longer wrap than what I had started when I began this with Daniel in the first place, or when I began it on TFF that day. So I ripped it out and I added probably another 4 inches to it. Now, since this is a wrap that goes end to end, you know, once you get started on the next row, then you've got quite a bit of time that you can sit there and crochet on it. And by the time you get down to the end, which I'm not quite there on this one here, I've been working, you know, 1 or 2 rows at a time. Now on the other one, I was probably about 6, 8 rows in when I decided this is not going to be long enough for me. because I am going to keep this one. I mean, after all, it is a Paul Ply Guys pattern, and I want to make this first one for me. Plus, I love, like I said, neutral colors, and to me, shades of gray can go with just about anything and any time of the year. So that's kind of like my second go-to project when I need to take a break from what it is that I'm working on. I'm working on this one using loops and threads facets, and the colorway on this one is called Silver. Okay, well, I'd have to say that is shades of silver and not just silver. I know it looks like it's got a little bit of a green tint, but not really, folks. I mean, it is, like I said, it is shades of silver. It's a nice yarn. It does have a little bit of a halo on it. I would classify it as a 4-weight. Like I said, it does have just a slight halo to it, and I think that's another reason why I chose it. So there we go. That's what I got to go in there. I will tell all of you that if you remember last Wednesday, I showed you Bogart, the frog that I've been making, and I told you that, you know, I really was into looking at changing his name from Bogart to Sherlock, because the more I got to playing with him, the more I liked the idea of making him, you know, the little Sherlock cap. I think some of you said it's called the Deer Slayer cap. I have found a sewn together pattern, but it gave me an idea of how to make my own. And the little coat, you know, with the cape and the breeches, of course. And then I'm gonna put his little sidekick Watson the Fly up here on the top. So see my progress with that. But I just spilled the beans, didn't I? Yes. What I was wanting to tell you was many of you said yes, he would make a great Sherlock. So Bogart now becomes Sherlock Holmes the Frog. So that's all I have for y'all today. I do appreciate very much you coming in here and spending your time with me here on Easter Sunday, if this is when you're watching my video. If not, then catch me on the replay anytime that you just want to sit down with a cup of coffee and see what it is that I've been at. Thank you again so much for being here, and please remember, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know, could be your light that they need to see. Again, thank you, and I love you. Bye.